have a callback for 86 Central.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. SCPs have been a thing in pop culture for years now, and they're kind of competing with creepypastas, but SCPs, they have more of a congruent topic about them. So SCPs are basically these anomalies contained by this SCP Foundation. But today's specific entity we're going to talk about is SCP-8000 Explained. And this entity is kind of like this board game, this evil board game that makes you crazy, basically. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. So, SCP refers to an anomalous effect produced from interacting with fantasy-based war games, such as Dungeons and Dragons, the Call of Cthulhu, and just any game in a fantasy way. Specifically, SCP-8000 refers to a form of a cognitive decline, wherein certain individuals who play these games cease to be able to distinguish reality from the world depicted by the fantasy game. This effect is most prevalent among men aged 15 to 25. So SCP-3000 is this entity that is a board game or haunts board games. And when you're exposed to these materials, the press basically has to say that they were abducted by a cult and they have to explain their disappearances for the public. Documented symptoms of SCP-8000 include belief that one is not human or has supernatural capabilities, seeking out cavernous structures such as maintenance tunnels or culverts is an attempt to seek out an adventure. So basically, once this entity has you, once you're exposed to this entity, you basically want to go on an adventure. Like you're going on the adventure with these adventure games. And you just don't want to stop. You want to find the cool stuff. You want to go down into the adventure. Cutting behavior, i.e. slitting wrists and mutilating legs. Abusing animals. Increased desire for acts or sexual deviance, including sodomy and public transvestism. Oh lord. So currently, one individual affected by SCP-8000 is in containment. 21-year-old Daniel Friedman, son of theologist Dr. Herman Friedman, following exposure to Dungeons and Dragons at their college board game society during 1982 autumn semester. Daniel Friedman began showing symptoms of SCP-8000 following their return home for winter break, culminating in an attempt at suicide on December 27th. Dr. Friedman, a former member of JOI 5705B's congregation, had been a proponent of classifying Dungeons and Dragons as an anomaly. He transferred his son to containment in hopes of understanding the mechanisms behind SCP-8000. So, remember back in the day when people didn't really understand what Dungeons and Dragons were, and it was like this culty thing, it was this demon thing, but it's just a board game, you know? So I feel like that is very highly influenced with this story about Dungeons and Dragons or any adventure game like Call of Catan, Call of Cthulhu. It's like kind of based off that, like it's this demonic thing that people play and it summons demons or possesses you in some way. So we have this account from Dr. Friedman and Daniel Friedman in 1983, and this is him in a hospital contained, and this is the interview.
Daniel, you awake? Good. Dad, where am I? You're in a special hospital. One meant to treat what is wrong with you.
There's nothing wrong with me, Dad.
Then why did I find you hanging from a belt from your closet? We're gonna run an array of tests, some psychological screenings first. What's your name?
Dan Trevor Friedman.
Who's the President of the United States?
Ronald Reagan. His Vice President is George Bush.
Does magic exist? Does magic exist?
What?
Does magic exist? You came home with all of those books, so
Dad, that's a game. I'm not deluded. I know what.
who's Carla Blackheart?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Daniel, I don't want to hurt you, but the behavior you've shown is concerning. Who is this woman you have written about so much?
She's just. I made her up for one of my writing courses at school, that's all.
You're very detailed about her, Daniel.
What is this place? You're not a shrink. You're a theologist. Why are you interviewing me?
You don't get to ask one of those questions anymore. Something tried to take my son away and I aim to destroy it.
Dad, it's still me, really.
Not sure you are. You changed so much only one semester, something got in your brain. But that's okay. We're gonna get it out.
Oh God, are you going to lobotomize me?
What? That diminishes mental faculties. We want to restore yours, Daniel. We're not barbarians.
What is this place, Dad, really?
Your dinner will be brought soon. I suggest you eat up. Have a good night, son.
So we have this story about this boy and this dad. The dad seems very adamant that the son doesn't really, the son is kind of taken away by this entity beast, but the son seems perfectly fine. It seems like I was talking about how people didn't really understand what Dungeons and Dragons were back then, and they said that it was cult powers, demons, and stuff like that. I think this is a case of that, but Dr. Friedman took it way far on his son Daniel, bringing him to this SCP Foundation because he believes that something has gotten him because he's playing these games, even though there's nothing wrong with the games, and this is in the 1980s. So that's kind of when Dungeons and Dragons kind of sparked up its controversy. So I think this is a case of Dr. Friedman kind of losing its mind over Daniel was playing this game, taking him to this prison and trying to change his brain back to normal. And when you were a kid, when you're 13 years old, 14 years old, when you're in high school, you're going to change a lot in one semester, and old people don't really change that much when they're older. They kind of change when they have to, but with high schoolers and kids like that, they change just automatically. So when Dr. Friedman sees his son changing over one semester, that's probably just his son hitting puberty. And it is scary to think about his dad kidnapped his son because he's playing like games like that. But they did search his room, and they found a Dungeons and Dragons player's handbook, 53 pages of handwritten notes documenting the adventures of Carla Blackheart, which sounds like Carla Blackheart sounds like his character he plays in Dungeons and Dragons, in a fictional kingdom known as Macarona, alongside 3 other adventurers: Winston Wizardly, Rallis the High Morrow, and Saint Roderick of the Winter County. So this does really just sound like a Dungeons and Dragons handbook. Nothing really too wrong about it. He also had 5 grams of marijuana on him, several works by H.P. Lovecraft, J.R.R. Tolkien, Terry Brooks, and Octavia Butler, a membership card for State University's Gaming Society, size 20 women's underwear, both bra and underwear. Hair analysis indicate that they have been worn by a male subject. Oh, shit. The last one, oh my God. They found a bra in a drawer, and they were talking about how Daniel would go out and dress like a girl out on the streets, and his dad is so confused about it. Why is it doing it? Why is my son being trans? He's probably got a demon in him, right? But that's wrong. I think he was just a trans person. Because it says hair analysis indicate that they've been worn by male, and he was going trans. So I think that he is just a nerdy gay lover of fantasy and dark fantasy, so that his dad doesn't really understand this and kind of puts him in the facility because he thinks he's changing. So like exactly 1 month and a few days later, we get another account from Freeman and Daniel, and let me just read it out for you.
Daniel, good evening. How have you been?
I don't feel good, Dad. There's something in the food.
Oh, there was an accident in the kitchen and they have used a different supplier for meals, is all. I've gotten a few more questions for you. When did you first start playing this Dungeons and Dragons game?
I got invited to the game club by someone in my computer science class, and it was fun. I started playing.
Who is Winston Wizardly?
Mark Palmer. St. Roderick's was Albert Rice, and Rallis was Edgar something. I don't remember his last name, but he didn't show up to meetings that much. Why am I telling you this? You're gonna hurt them, aren't you?
We're not. Did you ever do spells?
No! Magic isn't real, Dad. Jesus Christ, on a fucking bike.
Take care not to blaspheme, son. Why do you have a set of woman's underwear in your luggage? I have always I can make you talk, Daniel. Tell me.
No.
I'm your father. What is happening?
You wouldn't understand.
Is that really what you think? Fine. I'll be back in a few days. Let's see if we can't get you to cooperate then.
And then, so he noted after this, he increased the dosage of compound 72, which sounds like some sort of sedative, from 5 milliliters to 10. And he wrote down, I want him to tell me everything next time I talk to him. So right after that, we don't really have anything in between. That kind of paragraph kind of showed that Daniel is confirming more that Daniel is trans and there's nothing really wrong with him. And Dr. Friedman is trying to debunk this Dungeons and Dragons thing by saying, do you cast spells and stuff like that? And then Daniel kept insinuating, no, magic isn't real. Jesus fucking Christ, Dad. But next we have another account from Dr. Herman Friedman, the doctor. But we have Edgar Starkley, the member of the state's gaming society. And this is just a few days later on the 25th.
I must have misheard you. He ran away to join a cult? We don't believe it, but it was a choice. We don't believe it was by choice.
This is Dr. Friedman telling him that he was in a cult, but he's actually in a containment facility. Again, back in the day, in the 80s, Dungeons and Dragons were said to be a cultist activity. So they're saying anyone they kidnap from this entity was taken by a cult because that's what everyone would believe.
Believe that something happened to him here. Was he involved with any religious movements? Not really. He went to the chapel on campus a few times, but nothing beyond that. What about other things like that game going around, Dungeons and something?
You can't be seriously thinking that Dan went away because he pretended to be a barbarian princess.
I'm just asking questions, Mr. Starkley.
It's fantasy. He's not sick. He could tell when we were pretending. That thing with the kid in the steam tunnels a few years ago, he wasn't well. His parents mistreated him badly. The game did not kill him. Oh my god, and Edgar doesn't even know that Dr. Friedman is his dad.
Do you know if Daniel was sodomite?
A what?
A homosexual psychopath. Queer, gay.
Who did you say you were for again?
stopping cults from proliferating, and charitable organizations dedicated to doing just that.
Maybe you want to take a look at your own materials, friendo.
That you describe a kid sweet as Dan as a sediment or a psychopath says a lot about you, my friend. It doesn't matter. We're very close to getting him back. I'm sure.
Well, if you do get him back, I hope you're not stuck with their parents.
What makes you say that?
From the sound of it, his dad was a fundy nutcase who was worse at distinguishing fantasy from reality than any Dungeons & Dragons player I've ever met. I believe we're done here. Good day, Mr. Starkley. Whoa! Dropping the bomb here, yo. So Starkley basically said that Dr. Friedman is more of a not reality than Dan is. So basically this kind of proves my point even further. Mr. Friedman's so in this fantasy world that Dungeons & Dragons calls his cults. He doesn't realize the actual truth around it, so it makes him look like he's more in fantasy land. Wow, that is crazy. So just a few days later, the next month, on the 7th, 1983, we have another interview with Dr. Friedman and Daniel Friedman. And it goes like this.
Daniel, good to see you again.
What are you putting in me, Dad? It hurts. Hey, yo.
We've been putting antidepressant drugs in your food. We don't want to lose you, son. We're hoping it helps.
I can't think straight. I haven't really been able to sleep in 2 days. Tell them to stop, please.
If you answer a few questions, I'll see what I can do. Why do we find women's underwear in your room?
They're not mine, okay? They're Clara's. Whoa, wait, Clara's a fake person, though. Oh, and then the dad says right here,
I was under the impression that she was original.
She's real, Dad. I met her at school. I think some of her stuff got mixed in with mine.
Why does the hair indicate that you wore it then? Did something happen? Did this game make you trans? Son, I have ways to get rid of it. Just say the word.
Dad! Please, no, stop.
You changed after you went to school, son. I want Daniel back!
For the love of... I was never your son! You don't remember? How I tried on a dress when I was 10? And I found some of my mom's old lipstick and tried it on when I was a teenager? Why I grew out of my hair when I was 17? Dad, I'm not your son! Wow. That doesn't really necessarily mean that you're gay if you try on dresses and stuff and lipstick. I feel like that's a normal kid thing. Dr. Freeman said,
No. This is the anomaly talking. 8,000. This isn't... No. You are not a faggot. Do you hear me?
Dad, please stop.
I'm gonna make this right, kiddo. You're going to be better soon.
Wow. This is sad, yo. I wasn't expecting this to be like a real thing. I was expecting this to be like more like entity based, yo. This is like the dad's the entity at this point. Wow. So we have this psycho dad that's kind of trying to make its son not gay. Oh my god. And he thinks that as Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, the son is gay. But the dad thinks that Dungeons and Dragons is making the son like gay and weird. Holy crap. But he doesn't know that he's the one that's in the delusional here. Holy crap. So we don't really have any more accounts after that, but we have some treatment logs that we can go through. So treatment administered to Daniel Friedman in an attempt to cure SCP-8000. So these treatments essentially are there to make him not gay anymore. Sensory deprivation therapy, 12-hour session. Result: ineffective. Subject screamed for the first hour, spent the next 11 unconscious. Wow! So they put him in a septic tank. Just, oh my god, dude. What a bad dad. Holy crap. Not even a bad, you can't even say this is a bad dad. This is like the worst dad ever. Electroconvulsive therapy. Wow, they shocked him? Holy crap. Result: ineffective. Attempt to attack guards on 2 occasions. Artificial testosterone treatment. Wow. They're really trying everything to not make him like gay. Holy crap. This is sad. Ineffective. After the first administration, the subject attempted suicide by striking their head against the wall of the cell over 200 times. That is sad. Oh no. I did not want to read this one. Chemical castration. If you don't know what that is basically tying your tubes or making you take pills so you can't produce sperm. Which, how would that help you not be gay anymore? What? Wouldn't that make you more gay? How is chemically castrating you making you less gay? Huh. But the result was seemingly effective. Subject did not report any transsexual urges following this. However, continued administrating has been deemed impractical by Dr. Friedman. But it's like not like worth it. Like, what's the reason? So the next one we have is treatment is therapeutic exorcism. Wow. Poor kid. This is crazy. They literally just were playing like Dungeons and Dragons, and this dad is doing everything in his way to make his son not gay. Holy crap. Oh my god. Ineffective. Subject showed no physical reaction to religious iconography to religious symbols or holy water. Subject's left collarbone has broken as he struggled to free himself from restraints. They're tying him down. Oh my god. Treatment. Baptist immersion. Immersion was overseen by members of GOI 5705B. Result was subject struggled against attempts at immersion for 15 minutes and attacked a member of the GOI. Second attempt was made while subject was sedated, resulting in them nearly drowning. Treatment was deemed ineffective as subject still showed symptoms of SCP-8000. I hate it. I actually hate this story. Not that it's a good written story, very, very good written story. I just hate it. Bro was doing literally everything in his power not to make him gay anymore. Even Baptists, they exorcised him, they put him in a bath. Nothing worked besides chemical castration, and it was seemingly effective just because he couldn't bust a nut anymore. Holy shit, yo. Okay, guys, so we have a follow-up by the Order of Ethics Committee. This is kind of like HR of the SCP Foundation. And this is really sad, guys. This is kind of just like Dr. Freeman's being exposed, kind of. This is really sad. Let me read it off to you guys. By the Order of Ethics Committee, concerns regarding Dr. Freeman's treatment of his child regards in their exposure to SCP-8000 have not been brought forth by members in the RAISA who have documented their interviews and attempted to treat his son. After significant debate and careful review, the Ethics Committee has not concluded that SCP is not and has never been an anomaly. The behavior exhibited by Daniel Friedman and several other alleged SCP cases are a result of a combination of factors, including previously untreated mental illness, such as manic depressive disorder, homosexuality, gender identity disorder. So they're basically saying that Dr. Freeman was wrong and his son is just gay. Cessation of contained efforts related to Dungeons and Dragons and other related fantasy games. So they're just taking the Dungeons and Dragons away from him too? Are you serious? Bro, he's been through all that stuff and he's not going to be able to play Dungeons and Dragons anymore. But if you were put in this facility, God knows where you are, and your dad kidnapped you, basically, accusing you of being a demon and an adventurer, like someone that craves adventure, I guess, and finding out your son is gay in honestly the worst way. And then right when you find that out, you chemically castrate him, inject him with testosterone, put him in a septic tank, get him exercised, doing a bunch of stuff to make him not gay anymore, which is wild because he's not doing anything. Like, it seems like he doesn't really care about his son. Like, he just wants to make his son not gay. Like, he wants, so like his son, he says that his son is like in like mines and stuff, and his friends said that like it's weird that he was in the mines and stuff like that. So when he told Daniel's dad, it was kind of just like weird. But with Starkey, Edgar Starkey, his friend, he kind of exposed Dr. Freeman right in front of him and made him end the interview right there and then. And then we figured out that the order of the ethics committee found out that there was nothing at all going on, and the real problem was the dad, and that it is just depression and homosexuality that he was born with to essentially create this fake identity or fake entity, which is wild, dude. Holy crap. Oh. All right, so we have this like an author note, I think. So I think this is an author note. It says the Foundation and the majority of the world were clueless back then about the role fantasy could play in leading a healthy life. They saw adults playing pretend and called them childish, sick, demonic, and deluded. In some cases, it was the only way that we could escape from delusion. In some cases, people have escaped into fantasy to be their true selves, and in that sense, the line is blurred. I don't know how many people I've met over the years who pretend this is something they are not in order to survive, only the mask to come off when they pick up a set of dice and a character sheet. It's magical, honestly, and the only way to describe it. My father died in 1999. I only visited his grave a week ago. I only did it at the request of my psychiatrist, because after the way he treated My father died in 1999. I only visited his grave a week ago. I never wanted to speak with him again. He never really accepted me for who I was, even after the Foundation tried righting his wrongs. In a way, I should be thankful. They gave me a roof over my head, kept me clothed, and fed me. I couldn't go back to living how I used to before being abducted, and eventually gave me a job. But at the same time, they brought me into mass delusion that I was somehow an anomalous, when in reality, I just wanted to be me. And now that I am me, I don't want to be anyone else. Ugh. that itches like something in my heart. I don't know. This is a really good story. Like someone finding who they are because they go through this traumatic experience in life. Like I say, bad experiences are just turning points for the rest of your life. Like we always have to go through bad things to go through the good things. So in a way, she is like grateful that she like transitioned fully and that her father is dead and that she went through this like abduction kind of. I don't really think the story needed this. This definitely added some deep some like wow factor to it, but I don't think the story really needed this. Wow, dude. So SCP has taken action over this. This is a crazy story to read in Pride Month. I'm sorry, guys. I'm still gonna upload it. I don't care. I didn't know it was gonna be like this. Holy shit, dude. I'm sorry. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, my first SCP deep dive. I've never read this story, and I'm gonna continue to do SCP deep dives with stories I've never read before because I feel like it would be fun for you and me to do it at the same time and like learn new things at the same time because I was freaking shook when this. Holy shit. Anyways, like that button and subscribe every YouTuber says it. So anyways, bye.